Marcus Chen had always been fascinated by alien technology, which is why he spent most of his savings on what was advertised as a mini-alien Shenzhou Prime Excavator Spaceship from a sketchy intergalactic marketplace website. The product description was vague, the pictures blurry, and the seller had only 3 reviews, but the price was too good to pass up. Besides, Marcus figured even a broken alien excavator would be worth studying in his garage workshop. The delivery notification came at 3 in the morning, which should have been his first clue that something was wrong. The message simply read, "Package delivered. Coordinates: 34.052, 2 degrees north, 118.2437 degrees west. Handle with extreme caution. Payment processing complete. Have a stellar day." Marcus lived in downtown Los Angeles, but those coordinates pointed to somewhere in the middle of Griffith Park. He grabbed his flashlight, threw on some clothes, and drove through the empty streets, expecting to find a small package dropped by some confused delivery drone. What he found instead nearly made him crash his Honda Civic into a tree. A massive crater had been carved into the hillside, approximately 50 feet across and perfectly circular. The grass around the edges was still smoldering, and the air smelled of ozone and something metallic that made his nose tingle. At the bottom of the crater sat what could only be described as a spaceship, though it looked nothing like the sleek vessels from science fiction movies. The craft was roughly cylindrical, about the size of a school bus, with a dull bronze surface that seemed to shift and ripple in his flashlight beam. Strange symbols pulsed along its hull in soft blue light, and what appeared to be excavation equipment jutted from various points on the vessel. Massive drill bits, articulated arms with different attachments, and sensor arrays covered nearly every surface. It looked more like a construction vehicle that had mated with a submarine. Marcus slid down into the crater, his heart pounding with a mixture of terror and excitement. This was definitely not the miniature collectible he had ordered. The website had shown something roughly the size of a toaster. This thing could probably excavate his entire neighborhood. As he approached the craft, a section of the hull suddenly irised open with a soft pneumatic hiss. Marcus jumped backward, expecting aliens to emerge with ray guns blazing. Instead, a holographic display materialized in the air in front of him, showing what appeared to be a customer service representative. The being was humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin had a slight purple tint, and its eyes were larger than normal, with pupils that shifted from round to diamond-shaped as it focused on Marcus. Most surprisingly, it was wearing what looked like a standard corporate headset and a polo shirt with a logo that read, "Galactic Corp Deliveries." "Good evening, valued customer Marcus Chen," the hologram said in slightly accented English. "I am Zrex, your customer service representative. We sincerely apologize for the delivery delay and the minor property damage. I see you ordered our mini excavator Model A 7742, but due to a warehouse mix-up, you have received our industrial mining vessel Model Z 9999. This is our flagship deep space excavation platform, capable of mining asteroids, terraforming planets, and constructing artificial wormholes." Marcus stared at the hologram, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. I just wanted a desk ornament," he finally managed. "We understand your concern," Zrex continued with the practiced patience of someone who dealt with shipping mishaps across the galaxy. "However, due to certain irregularities in your planetary customs regulations, we cannot arrange for immediate pickup. The vessel will need to remain in your possession until our next scheduled Earth visit, which is in approximately 732 Earth days." 2 years. Marcus's voice cracked. "I can't hide a spaceship for 2 years. Additionally," Zrex said, consulting what appeared to be a holographic clipboard, "according to intergalactic commerce law, since the delivery has been completed and you have taken possession of the merchandise, the sale is considered final. However, as a gesture of goodwill, we are prepared to offer a 15% discount on your next purchase." Marcus looked around the crater, then back at the massive excavation vessel that was apparently now his property. "This is insane. People are going to notice a giant spaceship in Griffith Park." "The vessel is equipped with standard perception filters," Zrex explained helpfully. To most humans, it will appear as a large boulder or fallen tree. The crater will gradually fill itself in over the next few weeks, using the ship's environmental restoration protocols. We take great pride in our ecological responsibility. Okay, but what am I supposed to do with it? Zrex's expression brightened considerably. The Z9999 is incredibly user-friendly. It comes with comprehensive tutorial programs, adaptive AI assistance, and a full complement of mining and construction tools. Many of our customers find it quite enjoyable to use for home improvement projects. Before Marcus could protest further, the hologram continued. The vessel also includes defensive capabilities, faster-than-light travel, a molecular fabrication unit, and a small but comfortable living space for extended operations. The user manual has been uploaded directly to your personal communication device. Marcus felt his phone buzz and pulled it out to find 17,000 pages of documentation written in a mixture of English and what appeared to be alien hieroglyphs. "This is a mistake," Marcus said firmly. "I want to return it." "I'm afraid that's impossible," Zrex replied with genuine-seeming regret. The return shipping costs alone would exceed 73,000 credits. And that's not including the customs fees for transporting Class 7 excavation equipment across dimensional barriers. Plus, there's the matter of the asteroid mining permit that was automatically filed with your planetary government upon delivery. "The what now?" "Don't worry," Zrex said cheerfully. "It's just a formality. Your species doesn't have an official response protocol for such permits yet, so it will likely sit in bureaucratic limbo for several centuries. Is there anything else I can help you with today?" Marcus looked at the massive spaceship, then at the holographic alien wearing a customer service headset, then at his phone displaying an instruction manual that would take him months to read. The logical part of his brain was screaming that this was impossible, that he was dreaming, or having some kind of psychotic break. The engineer in him, however, was already wondering what kind of home improvement projects you could accomplish with planet terraforming equipment. "How do I get inside?" he asked. Zrex beamed. "Excellent. Please place your hand on the access panel to your right. The ship will scan your biometrics and register you as the primary operator." Marcus hesitated for a moment, then pressed his palm against a section of the hull that had begun to glow softly. There was a brief tingling sensation, followed by a pleasant chime. "Welcome aboard, Captain Chen," a new voice said, this one coming from speakers built into the ship itself. "I am Arya, your Adaptive Resource Intelligence Assistant. I am excited to begin our partnership." The entry portal expanded wider, revealing a surprisingly well-lit interior that looked like a cross between a spacecraft cockpit and a construction site office. Comfortable seats, multiple displays showing various readouts, and what appeared to be a small kitchen area. "I've taken the liberty of brewing coffee," Arya continued. "The molecular fabricator analyzed your biological requirements and determined that caffeine would help you process this new information more effectively." Despite everything, Marcus found himself smiling. He climbed into the ship and was immediately greeted by the aroma of perfectly brewed coffee. The interior was surprisingly spacious, with corridors leading deeper into the vessel. "Arya," he said, settling into what was obviously the captain's chair, "what exactly can this ship do?" The Z9999 is equipped for comprehensive resource extraction and environmental modification," Arya replied. "I can excavate underground tunnels, extract and process raw materials, construct buildings, terraform landscapes, and perform limited atmospheric processing. I also have defensive shields, faster-than-light engines, and a quantum fabrication unit capable of creating almost any tool or device you might need." Marcus took a sip of the coffee, which was indeed perfect. "And I'm supposed to keep this secret for 2 years? According to my analysis of human social patterns," Arya said, "you may find it challenging to conceal a Class 7 excavation vessel. However, I am equipped with advanced camouflage systems and can operate primarily underground if necessary. We could excavate a hidden base beneath your residence, for example." "A hidden base," Marcus repeated slowly. "With proper waste heat recycling, underground hydroponics, and quantum-secured internet access, it would be quite comfortable." I could have preliminary excavation completed within 48 hours. Marcus leaned back in the chair and looked around the interior of his accidental spaceship. The rational thing would be to call the authorities, to report this as some kind of elaborate hoax or alien contact situation, but the engineer in him was already calculating how much it would cost to renovate his house versus simply building a new underground facility with alien construction equipment. "Arya," he said finally, "show me those defensive capabilities you mentioned." "Certainly, Captain." Activating external display. The main view screen lit up, showing a three-dimensional wireframe of the ship with various systems highlighted in different colors. Weapon systems, shield generators, sensor arrays, and something labeled as emergency wormhole generator. Marcus took another sip of coffee and grinned. Maybe having his order mixed up wasn't such a bad thing after all. "All right," he said. "Let's see what this thing can do." 3 weeks later, Marcus had stopped thinking of his situation as a problem and started viewing it as the best accident that had ever happened to him. Arya had not been exaggerating about the ship's capabilities. What the AI had modestly described as preliminary excavation had resulted in a 3-story underground complex beneath his house that would have made a billionaire jealous. The excavation process itself had been a marvel to watch. The ship had somehow positioned itself directly under his backyard, without disturbing so much as a single flower in his garden. Using what Arya called molecular displacement tunneling, the vessel had essentially phased through solid earth, leaving perfectly smooth walls reinforced with some kind of crystalline material that was stronger than steel but looked like polished marble. Marcus's new underground home included a workshop that could fabricate anything he could imagine, a living area with better amenities than most luxury hotels, and a command center that gave him access to more information about Earth than most governments possessed. The molecular fabricator could produce everything from perfectly aged wine to advanced electronics that wouldn't be invented by human science for another century. The perception filter had worked exactly as promised. To his neighbors, his backyard still looked exactly the same, complete with the small herb garden and the rusty barbecue he had been meaning to replace. When Mrs. Patterson from next door had complimented him on how nice his lawn looked, Marcus had nearly choked on his coffee. But the real revelation had come when Arya started showing him what the ship's sensors could detect. "Captain," Arya announced one morning, as Marcus was enjoying breakfast in his underground dining room, "I have been conducting routine scans of the surrounding area and have detected several anomalies that may require your attention." Marcus looked up from his Eggs Benedict, which the fabricator had somehow made better than anything he had ever tasted at a restaurant. "What kind of anomalies?" "There appear to be 17 unauthorized extraterrestrial monitoring stations operating within a 50-mile radius of our location." Marcus nearly dropped his fork. 17? What now?" The main display activated, showing a map of the Los Angeles area with red dots scattered across it. Some were in the mountains. Others were hidden beneath office buildings. And one appeared to be sitting right under the Griffith Observatory. "The monitoring stations are quite sophisticated," Arya continued. "They appear to be collecting data on human technology development, social patterns, and resource utilization. Based on their design signatures, they represent at least 6 different extraterrestrial civilizations." "Are you telling me that aliens have been watching us this whole time?" "It appears so. However, none of them seem to be aware of each other's presence, and none of them have detected our ship. The Z-9999 stealth capabilities are considerably more advanced than anything these monitoring stations possess." Marcus stared at the display, his mind racing. "How long have they been here?" "Based on the degradation patterns of their concealment systems, the oldest installation dates back approximately 73 years. The newest was established just 6 months ago, and they're just watching us, observing, and recording. I detect no weapon systems or signs of hostile intent. They appear to be research stations of some kind. However, several of them have been attempting to hack into human computer networks, and at least 3 are conducting illegal biological sampling operations." Marcus felt a surge of anger. "They're experimenting on people?" "Not directly. They appear to be collecting discarded biological material from medical facilities and analyzing human genetic patterns. Completely non-invasive, but certainly unauthorized according to your planetary sovereignty laws. Marcus stood up and began pacing around the dining room. So what you're telling me is that multiple alien civilizations have been secretly studying humanity like we're lab rats, and nobody knows about it except us. That appears to be an accurate assessment. And we have the most advanced piece of technology on the planet sitting right under my house. The Z9999 is indeed significantly more advanced than anything currently in use by either human or the observed extraterrestrial civilizations. Marcus stopped pacing and looked at Arya's display interface. Show me the defensive capabilities again. The real ones this time. The display shifted to show a detailed schematic of the ship's combat systems. What Marcus saw made his eyes widen. The Z9999 wasn't just an excavation vessel with a few defensive weapons. It was a full military-grade warship disguised as construction equipment. Arya, exactly how powerful are these weapons? The primary energy cannon is capable of precision strikes anywhere on the planetary surface from our current position. The defensive shields can withstand multiple nuclear detonations. The propulsion system can achieve faster than light speeds exceeding 1,000 times the speed of light, and the quantum fabrication system can produce additional weapons. Defensive systems, or even entire fleets of smaller vessels if required. Marcus sat back down, his breakfast forgotten, and Galacticorp just accidentally shipped this to a random human? I have been analyzing that situation, Arya said, its tone becoming more serious. After reviewing the shipping records and cross-referencing them with galactic political databases, I believe the delivery was not entirely accidental. What do you mean? The Z9999 was originally scheduled for delivery to a Class 1-2 military civilization engaged in a territorial dispute with the Andromedian Trade Consortium. However, the shipping manifest was altered 3 days before launch. The alterations were made by someone with access to Galacticorp's highest security systems. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Someone wanted us to have this ship. That appears to be the case. Furthermore, my analysis of galactic communication networks suggests that Earth has been designated as a developing civilization of interest by several major galactic powers. There appears to be significant disagreement about how humanity should be contacted and integrated into galactic civilization. So we're caught in the middle of some kind of alien political situation. Unfortunately, yes. And based on the increasing frequency of monitoring station installations, I believe that situation is approaching a critical point. Marcus looked at the map showing all the alien installations scattered around Los Angeles. What happens if these different groups find out about each other? Marcus, based on historical precedents from similar situations on other worlds, it could result in open conflict. Earth would likely become a battleground between competing extraterrestrial factions, each trying to establish exclusive contact with humanity, and millions of people would die in the crossfire. That is a probable outcome. Marcus stood up again and walked over to the display, studying the positions of the monitoring stations. But we could stop that from happening. FAR, the Z9999, has sufficient capabilities to disable all monitoring stations simultaneously without causing permanent damage to the installations or their crews. However, such an action would reveal our presence to all parties involved. And then what? Then, Captain Chen, humanity would no longer be a civilization being observed in secret. You would be announcing to the galaxy that Earth has acquired the means to defend itself and demand to be treated as an equal. Marcus thought about all the science fiction movies he had watched, where humanity was portrayed as primitive and helpless when aliens arrived. He thought about the monitoring stations conducting unauthorized experiments on his species. He thought about the fact that someone had deliberately given him the most powerful ship in the solar system. Arya, he said finally, how long would it take to disable all 17 stations? With proper coordination and timing, I could neutralize all installations within 14 minutes. And you're sure we won't hurt anyone? The energy disruptor system is designed for non-lethal equipment neutralization. All personnel at the monitoring stations would have sufficient time to evacuate or activate emergency protocols. Marcus walked over to the captain's chair and sat down, The enormity of what he was considering hit him like a wave. He was a mechanical engineer from Los Angeles who had accidentally ordered an alien warship online. Now he was apparently in a position to change the entire course of human history. "What do you think I should do, Arya? I am programmed to follow the directives of my designated captain. However, I can offer an analysis. The current situation is unstable and potentially dangerous for your species. Taking action would involve significant risks, but it would also establish humanity as an active participant in galactic affairs rather than a passive subject of study." Marcus leaned back in the chair and closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he looked directly at Arya's interface. "Show me the targeting solutions for all 17 stations." The display filled with tactical information, flight paths, energy calculations, and timing sequences. Everything was laid out with military precision, ready to execute at his command. "One more question," Marcus said. "After we do this, there's no going back, is there?" "No, Captain. Once humanity announces itself as a space-capable civilization with advanced defensive capabilities, the galaxy will respond accordingly. Your species will be invited to join galactic civilization, but you will also inherit all the responsibilities and conflicts that come with that status." Marcus thought about his quiet life before the spaceship arrived. He thought about his neighbors who had no idea that alien monitoring stations were scattered all around their city. He thought about humanity's future and whether it should be determined by secret alien observers or by humans themselves. "Area. Prepare for simultaneous strikes on all 17 targets. Weapons systems charging, Captain. All targets acquired. Ready to fire on your command." Marcus took a deep breath and placed his hand on the firing control. "Execute." The strikes were invisible to human eyes, but devastatingly effective. Across the Los Angeles metropolitan area, 17 alien monitoring stations suddenly went dark as precisely calibrated energy pulses fried their electronics without harming their organic operators. Arya's sensors tracked emergency evacuation procedures as alien personnel activated retreat protocols and began emergency evacuations to orbiting ships that had been hidden just beyond Earth's detection capabilities. "All targets neutralized," Arya reported with professional satisfaction. "No casualties detected. 6 evacuation vessels have departed Earth's atmosphere, and 11 more are preparing to leave." Marcus watched the tactical display as dozens of previously invisible spacecraft revealed themselves in their haste to evacuate. Some were sleek and elegant, others were bulky and utilitarian, but all of them were undeniably alien, and all of them were leaving Earth's vicinity as quickly as possible. "Captain," Arya continued, "I am receiving multiple communication attempts from the evacuating vessels. They appear to be demanding identification and requesting immediate dialogue. Put them through." The main display split into multiple screens, each showing a different alien face. Marcus found himself looking at representatives of species he had only imagined in science fiction. One appeared reptilian with scales that shifted color as it spoke. Another looked like a cross between a human and a bird, with feathered skin and large, intelligent eyes. A third seemed to be made entirely of translucent blue crystal that somehow conveyed emotion through its fluctuating light patterns. They were all talking at once, and Arya was providing real-time translation. "This is Battlemaster Grix of the Zephyrian Reconnaissance Fleet," the reptilian being was saying. "Identify yourself immediately, or face the consequences of interfering with official observation protocols." "I am Research Coordinator Kayla from the Avian Scientific Collective," the bird-like alien interrupted. "This unprovoked attack on peaceful research installations is a violation of 17 different galactic treaties." The crystal being's communication came through as pure mathematics that Arya translated as fascinating. "Indigenous development of Type 7 military technology detected. Requesting immediate cultural exchange protocols." More voices joined in, creating a cacophony of demands, threats, and scientific curiosity. Marcus held up his hand, and Arya somehow managed to transmit a universal silence command that cut through all the chatter. "This is Captain Marcus Chen of Earth," Marcus said, feeling slightly ridiculous but committed to the role he had apparently accepted. You were conducting unauthorized surveillance of my planet and my species. That surveillance has now ended. The reptilian battlemaster's scales flushed an angry red color. Your planet has no recognized sovereignty in galactic law. You are a pre-contact civilization without representation or rights. That changed about 10 minutes ago. Marcus replied calmly. As you can see, we now possess the technology to enforce our sovereignty. Your secret observation period is over. Impossible, the avian researcher said, her feathers ruffling in agitation. Our intelligence indicates that human technology is at least 3 centuries away from developing faster-than-light capability, much less advanced military systems. Marcus smiled. Your intelligence appears to have been incomplete. The crystal being pulsed with what Arya translated as excitement. Query: origin of technology advancement, human innovation or external acquisition? Before Marcus could answer, Arya interrupted with an urgent tone. Captain, I am detecting a massive incoming signal from deep space. Something very large is approaching the solar system at faster-than-light speeds. How large? Approximately the size of your moon. The alien representatives on the communication screens suddenly looked much more nervous than angry. The reptilian battlemaster's scales had gone pale, and the avian researcher's feathers were now lying flat against her skin in what Marcus was beginning to recognize as fear. That, the crystal being pulsed, appears to be a Galactic Council arbitration vessel. What's a Galactic Council arbitration vessel? Marcus asked. The reptilian battlemaster answered reluctantly. When a pre-contact civilization demonstrates advanced military capabilities, the Council sends an arbitration ship to determine their status and negotiate their integration into galactic society. It's a very formal process. And what happens if the negotiations don't go well? The civilization is either granted membership in the galactic community, the avian researcher said quietly, or it is classified as a threat and subjected to containment protocols. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Containment protocols? The crystal being's response was mathematically precise and utterly chilling. Planetary quarantine, total isolation, no contact with galactic civilization until the species demonstrates sufficient social evolution to join without disruption. Duration, typically between 500 and 2,000 years. Or, the battlemaster added grimly, if the civilization is deemed irredeemably hostile, the planet is sterilized and marked as a navigation hazard. Marcus looked at Arya's interface. How long until this council ship arrives? 17 hours, 34 minutes. The communication screens were buzzing with activity as the various alien representatives began arguing among themselves about legal precedents and council procedures. Marcus listened to the translation chatter for a moment before holding up his hand again. Enough, he said firmly. Here's what's going to happen. All of you are going to help me prepare for this council meeting because, if Earth gets quarantined, or worse, you're all going to be in serious trouble for conducting unauthorized research on a species that turned out to have hidden military capabilities. The argument stopped immediately. Think about it, Marcus continued. Your superiors are going to want to know how you missed the fact that humans had access to advanced technology. They're going to ask why your intelligence was so wrong, and why you didn't detect our capabilities before we demonstrated them by disabling all your installations. The reptilian battlemaster's expression had gone from angry to calculating. You make a valid point. Furthermore, Marcus said, warming to the negotiation, I'm going to need character witnesses. The council is going to want to know about human behavior, our social development, our capacity for peaceful coexistence with other species. You've been studying us for decades. You know we're not a threat to galactic civilization. That is also true, the avian researcher admitted reluctantly, the crystal being pulsed with what might have been amusement. Proposal. Mutual Assistance Pact. We provide council preparation assistance. You provide testimony regarding observation. Mission legitimacy. Oh. 2. Deal, Marcus said immediately. Area. Open a secure communication channel for all parties and begin sharing non-classified information about human civilization. Over the next several hours, Marcus found himself in the strangest study session of his life. The alien researchers, who just hours before had been secretly monitoring humanity, were now frantically helping him prepare for what amounted to Earth's entrance exam for galactic civilization. He learned that the Galactic Council was composed of representatives from over 3,000 different species, that there were strict protocols for integrating new civilizations, and that humanity's situation was unusual because they had demonstrated advanced military capabilities without going through the normal technological development progression. Most species develop faster than light travel first, the avian researcher explained, then defensive systems, then advanced manufacturing. You seem to have acquired all three simultaneously, which suggests either rapid technological advancement or external assistance. The Council will be very interested in how you obtained your current capabilities, the Battlemaster added. If another civilization provided you with advanced technology without following proper protocols, there could be serious diplomatic consequences. Marcus glanced at Arya's interface, thinking about the mysterious shipping error that had brought the Z-9999 to Earth. What if I told them it was a commercial accident? The crystal being's response was skeptical. Probability of Council accepting accidental delivery explanation. Approximately 0.003%. What if it's true? Truth has little bearing on probability calculations when dealing with Council bureaucracy. As the hours passed, Marcus began to understand the magnitude of what was approaching. The Council ship was not just coming to meet with him personally. Once it arrived, humanity as a whole would be evaluated, tested, and judged. The decisions made in the next day would determine whether Earth remained free to develop on its own terms or became subject to alien oversight for centuries. "Captain," Arya announced as they approached the 18-hour mark, "the Council vessel has dropped out of faster-than-light travel and is approaching Earth. I am receiving a formal communication requesting immediate dialogue with the representative of human civilization." "That would be me, I guess." "Yes, Captain. However, I should mention that Council protocols require all negotiations to be conducted in person aboard the arbitration vessel." Marcus felt his mouth go dry. "I have to go up there?" "Standard procedure," the Battlemaster confirmed. The Council believes that face-to-face meetings provide better assessment of a species' character and intentions. "How do I even get there?" Arya's response was reassuring. "The Z-9999 is equipped for interplanetary travel. I can transport you to the Council vessel safely." Marcus looked around his underground command center, then at the screens showing his alien advisors, then at the tactical display, now showing a massive ship positioned just beyond Earth's moon. 6 months ago, his biggest concern had been whether his car would pass its emissions test. Now he was apparently Earth's first interstellar diplomat. "Arya," he said finally, "prep the ship for departure. And send a message to the Council vessel that the representative of humanity will be arriving within 2 hours." "Message sent, Captain. Shall I also notify human authorities about our departure?" Marcus thought about trying to explain the situation to the government, the military, or anyone in a position of authority. He imagined the phone call. "Hello, this is Marcus Chen. I accidentally ordered an alien spaceship online, and now I need to go meet with the Galactic Council to prevent Earth from being quarantined for the next 1,000 years. "No," he said finally. "Let's keep this simple for now. If the negotiations go well, there will be plenty of time for proper introductions later. If they go badly," he shrugged, "it won't matter anyway." The Z-9999 began its ascent through the Earth's crust, rising silently toward the surface and the greatest diplomatic challenge in human history.